Well, good afternoon,
Yes.
folks. Michael and Israel here with another Tech Tuesday. I see we've already got a question in there. Um, so we are, I need to mute my computer so that I don't listen to myself. So, hey, it's hot. I don't know if y'all are aware, at least for those of us here in Alabama. I think you spent some time moving some boats today,
Yeah,
getting a little
yesterday
sun.
yesterday was pretty much all day sweating to death in
All
the
right.
sun, and then today about half the day. So,
So you're just out, enjoying the weather, right?
mm-mm.
So
Me and the sun don't get along, you know. But I do have the sombrero looking hat that I use sitting
gotcha.
right over there. I
Yeah.
didn't delight everybody with it today, but maybe next time.
Guys. So I'd love to know how you guys are doing. Have you gotten out on the water, or I guess maybe if you're here with a question, maybe an answer to that question can help you get on the water. Yeah, I don't know. We're in the stride. This is the busy season here. If you do need service, we'll keep saying it over and over again. Give a call. See what we can do, and try to get you taken care of as best we can. I think everything's been going pretty decent, right?
Yeah,
Um,
still backed up, but decent.
parts availability. Um,
Hit or
Seems
miss.
yeah, hit or miss based on some things. It's odd. I guess it's kind of like what's going on in the grocery stores. One day one thing is a shortage, and the next day something else. So that's just the way it is. So all right, well let's jump in. Oh nice. Somebody said first just fished a tournament at Beeswax this past Sunday. Awesome. So you got to spend some time on the water. Let's pull this in. Let me resize this real quick and make it actually fit on the screen. All right. So what holds the two black lines in the back of a live well where the water gets pumped into the live well? Not sure what manufacturer boat. If you're watching still, what manufacturer boat, because I
Yeah.
imagine there's do
Well,
they do it?
besides the fitting, I'm gonna go through, I guess, the whole thing. So you got and a lot of the ones that have two hoses is a pump out. So, um, so that they've got like it's not a T. It looks more like a F, I guess. And they're just two fittings that stick down, and you.
Oh, it's on
It's
Avid.
on Avid.
Okay.
Okay, I'd have to probably look at an Avid to really know for sure. But what physically holds them on is usually clamps, and sometimes they'll put an adhesive like like a clear silicone or something in there. But it's got like a little F looking set of fittings in there. Oh, Shane, it's just Facebook user.
Yeah, sorry,
Is that a
Shane. Yeah,
bug?
if you're no, that's the way you have to give. If you're in a group, you have to give permission
Oh, okay.
to the software to be able to pull all that data. If it's on a page, it'll automatically
So
do
you're
it. So
anonymous right now, Shane.
yes, you could have kept your mouth shut. Um, but okay, so
So are you saying what physically holds it on there, or what type of fitting holds it on there, or if there's any adhesive or something? Clarify for me so I know what you're going, know where you're going with that question.
yeah, I was. I mean, if you got a kid, that's a kid's job.
Hold it on
Sit back
there.
there and hold it on there, right? So.
Yeah.
Um, all right. Well, if you get some more info, I'm gonna move on to the next question, and we can circle back around there, Shane, if you want to go a little bit further into that. Scott Doolittle of a 2007 VMAX 150. I'm assuming the big filter back where the batteries are is a water separator. Uh, I use only non-ethanol gas. Is this something I should be replacing, and how often? Thanks.
Yamaha's recommended interval for that is 6 months. Depending on how much you use your boat, you can probably stretch that out to a year. So I've seen some that's been on there for a very long time and not had any adverse issues, but 6 months is the interval for that. So.
And I'm gonna throw in because one of the questions I found in the Yamaha group actually is related to the fuel water separator. The guy asked about replacement. Does it matter what fuel water separator I use as a replacement? He's got a F115, and I imagine he's kind of meaning towards like kind of the question we had like last week: generic
Mm-hmm.
parts versus.
Aftermarket
you
stuff.
got any
Yeah.
thoughts on the fuel water separators?
Yeah. I mean, if it's a well-known brand, then I would say you could use it. I mean, I would say Wix would probably be okay. I know the Yamaha's going to say they recommend their product, of course, but I will attest that they make a pretty superior filtration system. So you can't go wrong with Yamaha. But if you prefer a Wix or something like that, as long as it fits properly, it shouldn't be an issue. I know I saw on your screen you have one of those with a little water separator on the bottom where you could drain it. I've heard them say they're not real big fans of those because sometimes they have issues with them. But if it works for you, go for it. But as always, Yamaha is going to recommend, the Yamaha brand water separator.
Gotcha.
And they do have good stuff. So
does it matter the conditions like if you use the boat more and you're actually doing every 6 months, can you get away with something a little, and obviously reputable fuel and all that kind of stuff? Would that make a difference in terms of if you're trying to save a couple of bucks if you really use the boat a lot?
I mean, you could. I just know that some of those products, they're more impervious to ethanol, which if you're using non-ethanol, it's not as important. But there's some materials they use that filter, but sometimes they filter too good. And it can actually cause things to slow down and bogging issues. So, or they can collapse. Okay. So, and I know Yamaha's done a lot of research and put a lot of time into making sure their stuff works properly. So, and they're not, if you go too cheap, you're gonna have newspaper stuffed in there. So that's what you have to watch out for. I bought some aftermarket stuff. People claiming that these oil filters and these oil filters. So I bought a few of them, cut them open, and they had newspaper in them.
Wow.
So you have to be super careful.
Yeah.
With the type of fuel filter and oil filter you use, because you really don't know what's in there until you open it up. And I have a tool that you can open oil filters up with and see what's in there. So I know Yamaha oil filters use almost looks like a spongy looking thing in there, and it's really nice. It does a really good job and flows well. So.
All right. So Shane, getting back, he's saying that his came out and spraying water.
Okay. Well, Shane, I don't know if you just look and see if it broke, or if the hose came loose and the barb is still there. If so, then it may have, when it came loose, it could have thrown the hose clamp somewhere too. So you should have a hose clamp holding it on. So.
Okay.
And if it's not there, it probably came loose and fell in the bottom of the boat somewhere. So you'll have to replace that.
All right. Let's see here. Johnny. My 20i has a fuel select valve. I run it on both, but last Saturday it started to pull off left tank a lot more than right. Do I need a new valve?
Johnny, it could need a new valve. It could be that you didn't have the valve centered completely. I'm not a big fan of running off both tanks anyway, so I would recommend that you use one, because when you're pulling from two tanks, you double your potential vacuum. And I'm pretty sure you have HPDI, and HPDIs are not real big fans of too much negative pressure. And that's the other issue. Like you said, sometimes it'll pull from one side faster than the other one. And if you get too low, you'll start sucking air on one side.
Right.
and not the other one. So fuel is going to be like a water. Water likes or electricity likes to follow the path of least resistance. So if one of them's even just a little bit more vacuum, it's going to pull from the other side more than one. So, so number one, I would just use one tank or the other. That's my recommendation. Could you have a problem? You could be having. You could have a problem. You might not have a problem. It just depends on what's causing it. The more vacuum on one side when you're pulling. So.
Well, I know. Reaching back to my aviation days, when you're doing that, if you're your aircraft, if you're not completely straight and level and all that kind of stuff, you can start. Which of course, in an airplane,
it's pretty important.
As you start draining more on one side than the other, then you just make the condition worse. But yes. I don't know if getting that with the boat,
yeah, and those have anti-siphon valves, and if one of them's starting to get a weaker spring, it's going to suck out of that tank faster than the other one too. So,
well, you just got to remember, I guess. So no issues. Drain one tank and then swap it over and use the other.
Yeah, that's the ideal situation. So,
well,
and I know in some cases people like to use, have that one side.
He's got a 225 show.
Okay. Yeah.
Well, maybe see if it makes a difference.
Yeah, just keep an eye on it.
I don't know. There's, I guess, some benefit to if you only have one tank and you've got a pump failure, you're stuck, right? You can't get gas.
Mm-mm.
So, maybe some benefits to. When did they stop putting two tanks in the
2012.
2012.
I think so.
All right.
Somewhere in there.
I saw another David.
Or maybe it was 17. One of the two. Might have been 17.
All right. I want to add low water pickup on a 150 Opti. Somebody said put a nose cone from Bob's.
It is.
Thoughts?
Well, I've got one on my workbench right now doing it. So this is the second one I've done. It works. I mean, it depends on what you're doing. I mean, you might not need it. If you have a tunnel hole, you need it. And the particular guy I'm working on has a tunnel hole with 2 jack plates. He gets it way up there.
Yeah, it's that's a pretty crazy setup.
Yeah.
So
you know which one I'm talking about.
Oh yeah, so. Yeah. That's I mean,
if
is it running water puddles in the parking lot?
He's getting close. I think he can run close to 6 to 8 inches now of water. So, but if you could block off some holes on the top of your lower unit if you're getting it up high enough to lose water pressure. That will get your water pressure back. So, but yeah, they're good. You just got to modify. You got to do a lot of modifications and some Bondo work, some welding. Drilling holes in the side of the lower unit and putting the hose on there. Which the 2 times I've done it wasn't too bad. The one I'm working on now, I'm done with everything except for doing the Bondo work. So
nice. Well, all right, Rick. Thanks. You are welcome for Tech Tuesday. This has kind of been a fun thing, and definitely hope you guys are getting some value out of it. I'm not seeing any other questions dropping in. If you guys have any, I'm going to go through. There are a couple on last week's video that I'm just going to read out of the. It was in the Avid group. What's the easiest fix for that sagging vent hose on the fuel tank? It's got a 23 FS mag, and it's hard to fill unless I blow out the vent before filling.
Just shorten the hose. Shorten the hose. I take the hose off and pull it up and get it to where you think it'll reconnect, and then once you do that, you can cut it. Then put it, tighten the tension up on it, and it should fix that issue.
All right. And then another avid question, and this not as much a tech question, but basically he's looking for a boat cover for a 22, 23 mag and trailer steps. And he's got the T top. Have you come across? I know we haven't been ordering. I don't think we ordered Avids.
one cover for it, and it was I think it was a pretty disappointing cover. The guy wasn't real happy with it, so I think we've kind of shied away from ordering covers after that. So he's probably just had to have one custom built if he wants a nice cover. Because cover on a T-top boat, that's a lot of material.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and I guess if you go around the T-top, right? Or you go up and over.
I don't know. I personally never put a cover over something that had a T-top.
I would imagine the cover would go around the center console and just have holes like on a pontoon that would wrap around the. I don't know. That's a.
If anybody has a mag or a FS and you've got
those T-tops
a T-top and you got a cover on it, send us a picture.
Yeah, definitely.
Looks like.
And then the trailer steps.
Trailer steps, you just have to find a place that makes them like what's that one? Trick Step makes trailer steps, and I think I know they make several now. For a lot of the boats we have, but I don't know if they specifically make one for an Avid. They have some universal ones out there, and then usually there's local people that'll build them. I have a guy here that will build steps for us if we need it. So,
well, all right. If we're not going to get any more questions, I'm just looking through. Just jumped out at me the Yamaha Outboard Owners Group. Any dealers have a 250 show 20-inch shaft coming in soon or in stock?
They don't.
At least he's got a laughing face on the request. That is motor availability is definitely an issue these days. So. All right.
And Mom, yes, I shaved. I have to reset my face at least once a year.
All right. Well, guys, if y'all don't have any other questions for us, then I think we're going to get back to the sweat box. Anything else to wrap up with for going on around here? I mean, we're like I said when we started.
Hydrate.
We've hit the stride. This is the crazy time of the year. I will say, obviously we're closed on Sundays. Still open Monday through Saturday, pretty much all day, 8 to 5. But if you are out on the water on a Sunday, or you got an emergency or something like that, if you text us at the store, or you can message us on Facebook. There is a small chance, not making any promises, but small chance that you may be able to at least get some remote troubleshooting. We try to do the best we can, but don't forget we also like to enjoy our day off. So, just throwing that out there. And yeah, I guess that's going to be it for this week. Thanks so much for the questions. Go back out there and I guess finish that remote water pickup. So, all right, guys, we'll catch you next week. See ya.